So on this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, we've got another great guest from SYFY's The Ark. It's Ryan Adams. Ryan, welcome to the show, sir.
Hello, thank you for having me, man.
You know what? First UK interview, tick that box.
I know.
And it's great because the thing is, this is the start of your career, really. And, do you know, I've got some amazing vibes that literally, you know, in years to come, I can look back and say, look, this Oscar winner, this Golden Globe, this is being on my show first. So do not forget me when I contact you for exclusives in the future. But yeah, let's before we go into the Ark, I've got to ask, you know, why acting, and what inspired you to go down that route and not something else? Because I can imagine being a young man like yourself. There's so many avenues to choose, but you chose the most competitive there is.
Yeah, what an idiot, right? No, it was strange. I think I reached a point in my life where I couldn't see myself doing anything else. For a long part of my life, throughout all of my school life, pretty much, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I was just one of those kids that just discovered it very late. Like, I didn't start acting until I was 16, 17. So yeah, I think I originally wanted to be a footballer, like a lot of kids. Just, you know, why not? But you know, I didn't play enough to be good enough at it. And then I wanted to be a film editor. So I did a lot of like ICT, media studies, that kind of thing. But it just got to a point where like I hated being like just like sat doing a stationary thing. You know, it just became very tedious and just like very like I just had to get out. And I remember at my high school where our ICT classroom was, it was like placed like exactly where all the theatre students would walk past to go to the theatre, and they'd always be in these like incredible flamboyant costumes, and just like they just looked like they were having the time of their lives. And I just remember sitting there thinking, oh my god, like I hate what I'm doing right now. I wish I was doing that. And then, you know, I did my GCSEs, really didn't get very good grades at all. And all my friends went off to sixth form, and I couldn't go with them because I didn't have good enough grades. And I remember talking to my mum, just being like, I just don't know what to do. Like, I'm at such a like dead end. Like, I was just like, what do I do now? You know? And you know, mums being mums, they just save the day pretty much. Like, my mum said, you know, we've loved going to the theatre all our lives. You love going to see plays. You love going to watch films. You love film. You love theatre. So why not try acting? And to a kid, like someone who has like never been in the spotlight, to someone who has just been behind a screen all their lives, that's like the worst thing in the world, you know, to be like pushed onto stage with all these eyes looking at you and just be like, go, like do something kind of thing. It was like, I've never been so scared in my life. And I remember telling all my friends about it, telling all my like friends who do the same thing as me, like this kind of stuff, just being like, dude, what are you doing? You know, like you're like the most like introverted, like shy person, like what are you doing? But yeah, I tried it, and it's gone pretty well, I guess.
Well, it definitely has. To say one of your first gigs is, you know, working for Dean Devlin and Jonathan Glasner, you know, it's gone pretty well. I mean, so obviously you left school, and did you go on to do training? You know, acting school. You know, what sort of training did you do in that area, or did you go straight in?
No, mate, I wish I was good enough to go straight in. Like I said, I'd never spoke a single line of dialogue in my life until I finished school. And I went to college after school. I studied musical theatre, actually. So that's like another step awesome. Beyond. It wasn't just acting; it was singing, dancing, and acting. But like I just had the best support, like the best teachers. I was originally going to do acting at this college. It wasn't a drama school. It was just a college, and but like yeah, I was originally going to do acting, but you know, for your like induction, you had to like do a singing thing and like a little movement thing as well. And they just saw like, you know, I could sort of sing, you know, I could sort of move. So they like, you know, encouraged me to do musical theatre, and I did, and I loved it, and I've just, you know, made the best friends doing that, and I'll never look back. And I'm so glad I did musical theatre and not acting straight away. But I knew end game I wanted to be an actor, not a musical theatre actor. But yeah, so I did that, and then I auditioned at drama school for straight acting, and yeah, I managed to get into a pretty good school.
Well, you look at all these actors that are working now, and Hugh Jackman is one of my idols, and he
Oh
obviously started in musical theatre, you know, and it just shows that you're following it in a great path. I mean, what's one of the favourite musicals that you did?
oh my goodness, we did quite a few. We did Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know if you've seen Bonnie and Clyde, but I love that musical. We also did. We did. Have you heard of Spring Awakening?
No.
We did Spring Awakening, and that was my first musical. And if you know Spring Awakening, then you know it's quite heavy, and it's quite yeah for a first musical. It's about teenage angst and like sort of discovering yourself, you know, going through puberty and everything. But it takes some dark turns, and like for that as my first musical, that was sort of crazy. But yeah, no, like I look up to Hugh Jackman so much, and I'd love to like one day be able to return to musical theatre and sort of just like
Yeah.
thrive in that industry as
Because
well.
obviously he's just finished The Music Man on Broadway, and he's now training for Deadpool 3. But no, I went to college as well in university for performing arts, and one of my favourite musicals that I did was Cabaret, and absolutely loved it, really, really did. But I mean, obviously, this training, this acting, you know, for anyone that's never been through having to learn about stuff like Stanislavski and Chekhov and things like that, which I hate, and Shakespeare, of course, you know, Metamorphosis by Berkhoff. Ooh. But anyway,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
what is the best thing about your time training, and what's the worst thing that you had to go through?
Okay. The worst thing comes to mind quicker. But like, it's not. It was worse, like to experience, but in the long run, it was good. So basically, and it wasn't even acting. Well, it sort of is acting, but for our singing classes, um, I mean, I studied at Arts Ed in London, which is like the peak musical theatre, right? Um, so we had an amazing singing teacher, of course, but he got us to like do everything in front of everyone. Like, like every single time we'd have to like do a solo song or something, or even just to like practice technique or something. It was always in front of everybody. And before that, when I did musical theatre at the college I spoke about, it was only one-on-one singing lessons. Like that was, and there was no other eyes. It was a, you know, like very, very closed off. No one could hear apart from the singing teacher. But yeah, it was tough to like get around having to make mistakes in front of everyone. Not only, I mean, not only in the singing classes, obviously, like you do a lot of getting up in front of the class and, you know, doing a monologue or like, you know, just like training, doing something. It was tough to be willing to make mistakes, I think, because beforehand, I mean, you just want to be the best. You know, you just want to be the best actor you can be, and you want to do everything perfectly. And I am such a perfectionist, so it was tough to learn to make those mistakes. But like you get taught, you know, you need to make these mistakes in the rehearsal room, you know, whilst you're training, kind of thing, so that when you do it on the big stage, on the big screen, you sort of know what you're doing. So yeah, that was the worst part, but in like the long run, it really pays off. The best part, I think, was just I never missed a day of drama school. Like you know, I wear this badge of honor. Like I talk about it whenever I can. I got 100% attendance for the whole 3 years I did it, and I think it's just because I loved the environment. Like I just loved being in a place where like I'm doing something I love every day. and it's just, yeah, I just thrived in that place, and like I had the best friends there, the best teachers. Like, yeah, it was like addictive. Like I feel like some people, they want to do something, they want to do a job, but to get to that job, they have to do the training, and it's sort of like, it's not the best training, but like, yeah, training at drama school, it was tough. Don't get me wrong, like really, really difficult, a lot of work, but yeah, like I just loved doing it. So yeah,
and many would agree with me, but we've got the best training, and I'm sure a lot of the Americans and the Canadians are going to go, wait a second, no. But they like the English actors. They like, actors from the UK, because the training is slightly different to how it is in the US. So we produce some of the greatest names in show business. We really, really do. So have you got a plan in place of what you want to achieve in your career? Is it working with certain people? Is it winning certain awards? Is it, working with certain directors? What's your end goal?
I mean, everybody wants to win, like, the big awards, and work with the biggest names in the industry, and I'm one of those people as well. But I think it's literally just to keep working. I think I think as long as I'm doing jobs that I enjoy, and that I love doing. There is one award in mind. I never say that I want to win an Oscar or all these things, because I think actors can be spectacular without winning all these prestigious awards.
Yep.
But yeah, for like an up and coming actor like myself, I'd love to win the EE Rising Star Award.
So there we go.
I'd love to win that one.
It's a prediction. So I will save that clip, and when you win, I'm going to say Nostradamus. He knew it. Yeah,
I mean, although I think, well, just because like all the actors that have won that award, I look up to so much. And yeah, to be able to like win that one, because it's not the biggest award in the world, but if I could like win one award like in my life, I'd love to win that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get recognition, but I feel some of the best content that we have in indie movies. Do you know what I mean? In the low cost, where the concentration is all aimed at the story and the characters, and it's not about, I'm not going to put down Marvel or anything like that, because they're amazing, and I'm sure that you wouldn't say no to a part in one of those movies. But
Hell no.
I just think, there's indie movies. There's one called Freaks, which I think is fantastic, which again, they hardly spent any money on, but it's just astonishing. It really, really is. So while studying, your craft, I'm sure that they partly go over how to prepare yourself for going out in the wide world of the industry. But how different was it, owning your craft and then going on to set? And what was the biggest surprise for you from going from the classroom to the set?
Oh wow! I mean, yeah, they really do. They do their best to prepare you for when you do land the role. And when I did land the role, I had all the tools that I needed to make my character, who he needed to be and everything. But like, I've said this in previous interviews as well. But like, you can't. There's nothing that can prepare you for doing it without doing it. Like stepping onto set for the first day, like it was literally just to like do a costume and makeup check, and like just a little camera test. But like it was crazy, and obviously being in a completely different country as well, stepping foot onto this like huge film set, it was just so like incredible. Like it's what I've been dreaming of for a long time, to be able to do this as my job, but like also to be like, oh my god, like I'm doing it now. Like, oh my god, it was hard to like, I was like pinching myself. Do you know what I mean? It was like it's like I was dreaming kind of thing. But yeah, it was scary. it was scary, but like, yeah, like I said, it's similar to drama school. Like I was just with people who wanted to do the same thing I did, you know, just wanted to yeah, make something really, really cool, and we did. And yeah, I wish I could, I hope I could do it again really soon. Do you know what I mean? It's just
I am sure
crazy.
if you could bottle that experience, you know what I mean, that you've been through, I think that would sell out. It really, really would, because I can only imagine how exciting it all was. And let's talk about The Ark, because
Mm.
The Ark is one of these shows that literally everyone needs to watch, because you know we're focused on all these big budget, you know, massive shows on TV, and what we get here. Correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but you know, I'm getting sort of a retro feel where it's concentrated on the characters and the storyline, and you know, each episode, we've had 3 already, and you know, each episode makes you want to, you know, ask more questions, and it's a bit like a murder mystery, and it's just awesome. It really, really is. So if you could tell us, you know, whom you play and a bit about the show in your own words.
Yes, of course, the Ark. So, yeah, so the show takes place 100 years in the future when planetary colonization missions have begun to sort of secure the survival of the human race because Earth is dying. So yeah, they send these spaceships called Arks out to find us a new home. And halfway through their journey, Ark 1 encounters a catastrophic event which causes huge damage to their ship, a huge loss of life, a loss of leadership, and the remaining survivors have to come together and become the best versions of themselves in order to survive and complete their mission. And my character, Angus, he is a young farmer. He specializes in horticulture, and he's been given the opportunity of a lifetime, you know, to work alongside his idols in an attempt to grow crops on a different planet. But it doesn't really go to plan.
It is one disaster after the next. I've got to say, the moment that you relax, I think now we're in episode 3, you sort of get in the gist that nothing ever is calm. It's like literally you have a couple of seconds where you think, right, everyone can breathe, and then all of a sudden something else happens, which I think's awesome. Obviously, you play, you know, Angus, which is a great character. It really, really is. And this is what I like about this show, is that there's no small characters. Every character is integral to the whole ship. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone's a moving part of this big, big machine. So, I mean, what is it about the show and the character that made you want to go for it so bad to get this part and to work on this show?
I mean, mainly because I'm such a big sci-fi fan. So when I saw that it was a sci-fi show with, you know, Dean and Jonathan at the reins, I was like, oh wow, like this is gonna be cool. This is really cool. And then I saw the character they wanted me to audition for, and you know, I fell in love with him. You know, I got through the scenes, I read them, and yeah, I just thought he was. I mean, this is like a completely fish out of water experience. You know, he's literally just a kid. You know. And he's just been thrown into this environment where it's life or death situations every single day. And yeah, I thought it was he's such a funny character, lovable, so naive to start off with, and just like, yeah. So it was a sort of no brainer. I was just like, this is super cool. And like I mean, you know, like I've said before, before doing the Ark, I've literally just done a couple short films. Haven't really done much at all. And I was like, oh, to get this is like my first big job would be so amazing. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get it.
And how did you get notified that you had it? Was it an email? Was it a phone call?
Oh, it was a phone call. It was a phone call from my agent. And there's actually a video that they took of her calling me. I remember it so well. So basically, she's skiing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's on this like, I've never been skiing, but you know how they go up those like those things,
Yeah.
those hanging chairs.
Ski,
and they go up.
yeah, the ski lifts.
Yeah, those. So she's basically on one of those, and she's like found out the information like there, and she's calling me. I'm at home, laying in my bed, home alone, like I don't know, just on my phone or something. Um, and yeah, she calls me to tell me I get it, and I'm so like, oh my god, I'm so excited, but I'm home alone. Like, there's no one here to celebrate with, so I had to like wait for like my family to get home before I could celebrate with them and tell them. But yeah, it was a phone call.
I just had visions of you doing like a Joey from Friends, where you try to pretend that you didn't get it, and then go, "I got it." No, that's also.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been such an amazing experience, because wanting it so much, then obviously getting that phone call.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, your character in the show as well has got an American accent, so. How hard was that to perfect, and how much work went into making sure, because you were surrounded by also American actors. Well, to be honest, the cast is like literally international, but how much pressure did you feel having to nail that accent?
Oh, I mean, it was tough. I'm gonna tell you something. When I auditioned for the show, I couldn't do an American accent to save my life. It was awful. Like, I look back at my audition tape now. Now I can do the American accent, and just think, why did they cast me, man? Like, this is really bad. So like, for one, I'm so glad they had faith in me to like, brush up on my accent. But yeah, like, it was really tough. But they set me up with an incredible accent coach called Joe Alberti, and I basically just learned on the go, like, because the space between getting cast and shooting was so short. So yeah, it was literally before I knew it, I was on a plane to Serbia filming the show, and I sort of had to just like, yeah, learn the accent on the go. So in the earlier episodes, you can probably tell my accent's a bit ropey, but like it
No,
gets
it's
better, I
good.
promise.
It is.
Oh, thank you.
It is good. It's really hard, though, isn't it? I mean, there are a lot of actors out there that surprise you when you find out that they're not actually. It's like Gwyneth Paltrow. I thought she was British for so many years, from the film Sliding Doors, and then I realised that she's American, and it threw me off. But you do an amazing job. You really do.
Oh,
And then
thank you,
talking
man.
about episode 1. It was directed by Dean himself, which must have put the pressure even on you even more. What was it like having those guys around, knowing their pedigree, knowing, what shows they've brought to life, and films like Independence Day?
It was scary. I mean, not only just like the people behind the show, like, Dean and Jonathan and everyone, but like even the actors. Like, I knew of Richard Fleeshman, I knew of Reese Ritchie, like I knew these guys. So like, these them two and Stacey, I actually flew over with to Serbia. I met them for the first time at the airport. So like, it was immediate, like, oh my god, I'm hanging out with these guys. Like, this is crazy. But like, yeah, Dean directed episode 1. And he knew, like, me and Stacey especially, this is our like first job. Like, he knew that this is sort of like first job kind of thing. So he was very patient with us and very understanding, and just, yeah, he had full faith that we could get the job done. And yeah, it was daunting. It was very daunting, very nerve-wracking, but like, everyone there, like all the crew, there was so kind, so helpful. Whenever we had a question, they'd always like give us the time to like, answer it and everything. Yeah, it was really safe space, like literally just like, yeah, it was really, really cool.
But the question is, have you got Dean and Jonathan's number? Because you're set up for literally the future, because apparently the rumours are they're rebooting Stargate. Um,
Right.
which would be pretty cool, because this show, The Ark, is very similar to Stargate Universe, and there's a lot of like theories around. Obviously, I don't know if you've watched Stargate Universe, but it ends with everyone going into cryostatus, and obviously this show, everyone wakes up in cryostatus from what's happened on the ship. So it's very, very similar. So the fact that they're rebooting Stargate, there could be an opportunity for Angus. You know, who
They
knows? But let's talk about sets, because the sets are absolutely incredible. And I know from previous interviews, because I've had quite a lot of the cast already on the show, they've all mentioned how incredible the sets were. I mean, coming, you getting the gig, traveling all the way to Serbia, of all places, it's, being all this nerves and everything like that. And the moment you step on to this set, I mean, what were your first impressions?
Oh my goodness. I mean, like I said, I'm a big sci-fi fan, right? I love Star Wars and everything. And when I stepped foot on set for the first time, I remember Dean gave me a tour of just like, the interior of the spaceship. And mate, like, it was crazy. Like, it's so weird to think that they've built the entire thing pretty much, like. And it's really nice to act in, because you'd think there's a lot of green screen and everything, but like the only green screen they have is just for the windows, for when you see space out the windows. So when you're acting like in the spaceship, you feel so like you just feel so like in it. Do you know what I mean? There's not much imagination happening. Like, you feel like you're actually on the spaceship, but. Yeah, it was so cool. I've always wanted to be on like one of those spaceships, and yeah, it was.
And did anything go wrong, like the doors not opening or buttons start flashing? Did you press any of the buttons? Did you get up to anything? Because I would have,
I did. A lot of this. I'm in the bio shelter a lot for a lot of the show. That's sort of Angus's domain, if it were. There's not many buttons. Oh, there he is. There he is right there. There's not many buttons in the bioshelter, but there are a few scenes where I am on the bridge. And there's a lot of buttons on the bridge, and there's a lot of slidey things. So in between takes, I'd have have a little look around. Yeah, there we are. There's me. I'd have a look around. I'd press some of the buttons, but this is a little Ark secret I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
This is so funny. I don't even know if I should be telling you this, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. It was so funny. So obviously, first time on the bridge, I'm gonna have a little look around, see what's up. It's super cool. Like, there's all these like big flashy screens and everything. Going over, looking at all the the buttons and stuff. And I remember I'm seeing this like this sort of white box. And I'm like, oh, what's this? This looks quite cool. I walk over to it. I'm looking at it. Oh, there's like a little on switch. Oh, that looks like something you put a disc into, like a little disc player or something. It's 3 Nintendo Wiis stuck together. And I'm like, oh my god, what the heck? Like, this is crazy. So I just remember like just walking around seeing like all this incredible stuff, and like, I've seen these 3 Nintendo Wiis stuck together. I was like, this is creativity at its finest.
Thing is, we wouldn't know that. I mean, I have had the privilege. So the sponsors of my show is called Prop Store, and they sell and buy screen used props and costumes. And at their head office near Buckinghamshire, they've got all the screen used costumes from Armageddon. Like Bruce Willis's spacesuit and everything like that. And then when you look close up, you'd be surprised on how they're made and how they're put together. But on screen, it's just magic. It really is. So, put them poor Nintendo Wiis, eh? Someone could be using them. So we see some amazing moments with you and Lieutenant Garnett, which the lovely Christy Burke, and I'm not sure if that's admiration or if Angus has got a bit of a crush on her. I mean, can you give me any insight on what this fascination could be? Because I can see how Angus, he looks proud of himself every time she says something positive to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Angus, for one, there's a lot of parallels between like me coming onto the show and Angus coming onto the ship. Is that he just wants to impress everyone, He really wants to just do a good job, and just impress all the higher ups. So whenever he gets compliments from, the people in charge, whether it be Garnett, Lane, Bryce. Yeah, he's always going to feel that like, oh my God, yes, I've done it. But like, it's only really Garnett who sort of compliments him. But yeah, from that, there might come a little bit of a crush, a little bit of a schoolboy crush coming along. And the episode that comes out tomorrow, so I'm guessing that would have already been out by the time this interview comes up, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so if you've seen that episode, there's a moment in that episode where it's just like, yeah, you can tell Angus just he has a soft spot for the lieutenant, for the captain lieutenant.
Well, you know what? Christy is such an amazing person. She really, really is. And obviously, we've got Reese and we've got Richard. I mean, working alongside these, what I would class as seasoned performers, seasoned actors, because they've done quite a lot of stuff, especially like Reese with Hercules and Prince of Persia and stuff like that. I mean, did any of them, take you under their wing and give you words of wisdom?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of them really. They all like you said, they're all like, professionals of their craft, they've done this for years, and like I said about Dean, like they acknowledge that this was my first sort of big thing, never done this before. So yeah, they all sort of took me under their wing and looked after me almost. But yeah, I remember Reese especially. He taught me a lot about just camera craft, really. In drama school, we get taught a lot about, acting technique and stuff like that. But like, yeah, working on TV show, and when you actually have like different camera angles and stuff, I had no idea about like where I should be looking. If I'm doing a scene with someone, like to look like really close to the lens. I had no idea about any of that, and I was lucky enough to have a lot of my early scenes with Reese. And he would, just literally teach me all about that. So it was sort of like, just like getting an acting masterclass as I was doing my first job, which was, crazy cool.
And obviously in the show, for people that have seen it, it is a bit like a murder mystery. Well, it is a murder mystery currently. So every episode gets you questioning yourself on who could be the person. And so far, my money is on Stacey. I don't know why. Just because we never pick the least expected, and Stacey's character as Alicia is so sweet. That can't be right, because no one's that sweet and innocent. So I'm going to put it out there now that my money's on Alicia being the person that has done the bad things in the end of episode 1. So did you manage to did you manage to keep anything from the show? Did you take anything that you borrowed, of course, especially as you can see, you're very proud in those jumpsuits. Them jumpsuits are amazing. I mean, to look on camera.
I wish I could have stolen this amazing compression suit. Like, I remember, because obviously the opening of episode 1, we're like, all the pods are like exploding, the pod bay is exploding. So we all had to like wear those suits for like day 1, and for week 1, really, for shooting episode 1. We were all in those suits, and I remember fitting it on for the first time. I felt like a superhero. Like it was so cool. I was like, checking myself in the mirror, I was like, yeah, this is sick. But yeah, that I'm when it came to props, there's a lot of cool props on the show. Being my first job and everything, I might have wanted to I love how you're looking around your room right now, going, yeah, I can't show him that. No, I've taken that. I've taken that as well. I can imagine behind your camera right now is like the set of the bridge. The whole spaceship.
3 Nintendo Wiis. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Telling your mates to come round. It's fine, I've got 3 of them. It's fine. We can play.
Yeah, it's all good.
But did you manage to take anything as like a memento?
I don't know if I can say, man. Like,
everyone else has.
Oh,
so have. If you get in trouble, you've got Reese, Christy, Richard, even Stacey, sweet Stacey, she will get in trouble. Honestly, it's the sweet ones you want to look out for.
Stacey.
Honestly, yeah,
Stacey,
I wouldn't
she's a
trust her now.
troublemaker.
She is.
Yeah,
She is.
she's a troublemaker. All right, I will say
if it's not nailed down.
If it's not nailed down, I took costume department, please don't kill me, or props department. I took one of the wrist devices
Really?
that you see us wearing throughout the show. Yeah, I took one of those. I also took it was just small things. I took my life support badge, the badge that just says that Angus life support. I took that. I took those two. I wish I could have taken like one of the space helmets or the compression suits because they're sick. But it's kind of hard to escape set with an entire suit and a space helmet. But yeah, I took some nice little mementos.
Well, I mean, if you did it with confidence, walk past security. You all right? How you doing? Yeah, I'm just taking it. Yeah, it's fine. They wouldn't have questioned it. But no, it's nice to keep things, especially at a start of a career. It's sort of, I mean, Reese had loads of stuff. He had stuff from Hercules. He had daggers, and he had loads, absolute tons. Because
I can imagine his house is like a shrine of Reese Ritchie. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just got everything throughout his whole career. Like, which is funny because he doesn't live too far away from me. We're both from Suffolk.
Oh, there you go.
So I might just like pop over one day and just be like, can I have a look at all of your 10,000 BC? Apparently. Oh, really?
He's got tons. He's got tons. Literally, if that guy took them to auction, I don't think he'd ever have to work again because they go for a massive amount of money. It's just crazy. But then again, I collect film props and TV props as well. And I've got an original crystal from the Superman movie that's worth quite a lot from the Christopher Reeve movie from the late 70s. But no, I mean, on this show, obviously, it looks like everyone had an amazing time. I mean, are we expecting any bloopers to come through? I mean, what was it like filming? Did everyone get it right the first time, or can we expect maybe a blooper reel?
There was a behind the scenes team floating around set, recording all the behind the scenes stuff. I had some fun with them. I don't know if they're going to release any stuff to do with that. But in terms of bloopers, man, I try my best not to mess up. So I don't know how many bloopers. I tell you what, actually, I don't know if it will make it into a blooper because I didn't really play to it. But there was a scene later on in the show. I'm doing a scene with a character, I can't really say, but my glasses broke mid scene. This is later on in the season, so the glasses have been through a bit. But right in the middle, it just snapped, and I forgot my line, and I was like, what the hell just happened? It felt like someone threw a stone at me, and I was just like, okay, and I forgot my line and everything. Anyway, we finished the scene. We stopped filming. I was like, I just want to preference everyone. I didn't forget my line. My glasses broke. And then I had to get a new pair. But they wouldn't let me take the broken glasses. I was like, yeah, I know.
They can repair them. They can. They melt the ends because of the material it's made out of. But that's a good sign. Yes. That is a good sign. When prop departments normally are quite protective against this stuff, it means that a season 2 could be on the cards, which we're all praying for because we don't want things to end. We're in a cancel culture at the moment where shows are just being cancelled all the time, and it's so frustrating. So fingers crossed with it going over to Germany now, and obviously the UK in April, we will get a season 2 announcement very, very soon. So I mean, the other thing I wanted to ask as well is, all these interviews that you're doing, this show is quite, intense with the storyline. So how hard has it been to keep everything a secret? When you're being asked questions and, to not slip up and tell people, who the person is, if it is Stacey, or if it's someone else. I mean, how hard has it been, and have you told your family anything?
Have I told my family anything? I've told my family some things, but yeah, when it comes to like interview stuff, like I'm new to interviews, man. Like it's like when I had my first couple of interviews, it's weird talking about myself, and to know that people are gonna be like watching, like it's really strange. And like you know, I when I talk about the show and stuff, I'm talking to my family. I say whatever. I say whatever I want. So you really do have to like censor yourself and be like, oh, what can I say? What can't I say? But this is a sort of show where like you miss an episode of The Ark, and you're gonna be like, what's happening, man? Like every episode has so many spoilers in. So it's really tough to talk about, and I'm really glad like some interviewers like they actually like have seen quite a bit of the show, so we can talk about it. And the show is out currently airing, so like there's a lot of stuff I can say. But yeah, it's really tough. It's really strange, but it's good to get used to, I suppose.
I mean, you're doing very, very well, I've got to say, because because obviously in interviewers' jobs are trying to get exclusives, and but I appreciate that you've got NDAs. You've got to keep things secret, and that's a good thing because it keeps the show alive, because people are wanting to watch it to find out actually what happens. So down to the last couple of questions. If you could play any other character on the show, which character would it be, and why?
Oh my goodness. That is a good question. I've never been asked that one before. If I could play any other character on the show. Oh, okay, I've got an answer. I think I'd like to give Strickland a go. I'd be terrible because Pavle is just incredible. But he does he does a lot of action, and like I'd love to do like a job where I'm like doing a bunch of like stunt work. Like I think I just love to do that. And obviously there's that episode. I think it's episode 2, where there's that mess hall fight scene, and like Strickland and Garnett are like kicking ass, and Angus is just sitting down just watching. Oh mate, I wish I could have joined in with that, but Angus unfortunately does not know how to fight. But yeah, I think I'd probably like to give Strickland a go. He seems like a cool character.
He's scary, but Garnet in that scene is awesome. That fight scene was really, really good. But no, I cannot wait for the next episode, because episode 3 definitely left us with quite a big cliffhanger. On the characters' progression, the characters' arcs, and are you prepared? Because obviously this is being shown in the over the pond, and it's going to be shown here in April. Are you preparing yourself for this new fandom that's going to happen? Because fan bases can be very, very passionate, and the fan base already for the Ark across the pond is quite passionate. I mean, are you preparing yourself?
I mean, I think it's great. I think it's incredible. Like, just going on Twitter, like searching hashtag the Ark, like just looking at everyone's theories, and just like seeing people like talk about the show. Like, obviously, because it's been about a year now since we started filming, so we've worked on it for quite a long time. For it to finally be out and for people to be like talking about it's so cool. Like, it's to see people talk about like Angus, and it's just like, wow, like it's really cool. It's really a dream come true, like really is. And yeah, like I'm loving the love. I am loving the love.
Good. It's well deserved, because it's an awesome show, awesome character. How can fans follow you on social media?
How can they follow me? Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Ryan Adams 2014. Yeah, I think I pretty much am just on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, not to be mistaken with the singer Ryan Adams. We are two completely different people. Yeah, so Ryan Adams 2014 is me.
You are definitely two separate people, because when I do my research, I went on YouTube and I thought, yeah, that's not Angus. That's not Angus.
Definitely not.
Maybe
it's definitely not. Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? So when it's not there anymore because I made sure it's not there anymore. But but when you used to type in the Ark to Google and you look at the cast, it used to have him as Ryan Adams, Angus Medford. Yeah, I know. But like
Wow.
now when you type it up to Google, I'm not there at all. There's no Ryan Adams. So if anyone from Google is watching, please give me some sort of Google profile, man. Like, I can't. I need to have one.
I know. Well, thing is, Ryan Adams, you got Brian Adams with a B on the front, of course. But you know what? This is what's going to happen when you have a cool name like yours. Other people are going to have it as well. But you know what, Ryan? You've been a great guest. It's been an honour to have you on the show, and I wish you the best. And I cannot wait to see everything that you do in the future. Here's to the rest of season 1 and maybe season 2. Who knows? But keep safe and stay super, my friend.
Thank you so much, man. This is a lot of fun. Thank you.